statistics are the stories of human suffering with the pain removed. So you may know individuals who are becoming statistics. So prevention is the practice of stopping people from becoming statistics. So addictive behavior has become the norm in our society. And when it's normal, you don't know it's a problem. So for example, a technique that prevention guerrillas use is called media advocacy, which is not advocating for the media. It's the strategic use of the media to achieve policy change. So you tell a story using numbers. So you've heard me say this. Every day, more people die from legal drugs than died at 9/11. Right? You heard me say that early in the week? Okay, so here's where that stat comes from. I'm using the year 2000 statistic. Okay, we're like 12 years away from that. All right, in that year, there were 753,000 deaths from legal drugs. $2,057 a day, 85 an hour. Fun with a calculator. Here's where I got that figure from. So, is it possible that 920 more people a year have died from legal drugs since 2000? Think it's possible? Think that's reasonable to make that assumption? 12 years later? Think the numbers have gone up or down? Right? Okay. So take a big statistic, break it down into visual and understandable numbers. So take, for example, plane crashes or planes. So I went to the Boeing website and got the rated passenger capacity of different airframes. Divide the daily death statistic into airframes. Right? We're on television, so this makes great TV. Voila. Megadeth is not a rock band. Okay, yeah, they are, but that's not where the term came from. 0.75 megadeaths, or 750 kilo deaths. Mega's a million, kilo's 1,000. Megadeath was coined by the Pentagon to describe the collateral damage, that means civilians. Civilian death toll when you airburst a 4 megaton nuclear device over a target city, say like Los Angeles. That would be 4 megadeaths. 4 million people. Okay? Following death statistics are from the year 2000 Surgeon General report. So the Surgeon General is like the doctor for the country. To get on this list, a doctor had to sign cause of death for you. All those collectively go to the Surgeon General and form a death stat. So there's about a 3-year lag. So I could get the figures from, I think, as recently as 2009. Haven't bothered. Why? I could. Maybe you want to do that. So to be valid, doctor had to sign cause of death. Now, all deaths are from drug effects. That is, taking the drug the way the manufacturer intended. Not accidents, not murders, not car accidents, drug effect alone. With me so far? Okay, all right. Okay, so collateral damage from not teaching people to be self-sufficient and aware, and suspicious consumers. So buyer beware. Don't swallow everything you read, but read everything before you swallow it. Just because it's legal does not mean it's safe. Tobacco. Year 2000, which was a leap year, that's why 366, 450,000 deaths per year, 1,230 deaths per day. That's 3 fully loaded 747s crashing every day. Secondhand smoke, passive tobacco inhalation, 53,000 a year or 144 people a day. That's one MD-80. Alaska Flight 261 was a flight that crashed off the California coast, which had like five people from Eugene on it. That's why a lot of people know some of the people that died. So that's why I referenced that. The old 727, I think it's called. Okay, so one of those every day. Oops, alcohol. 150,000 deaths a year. That's drug effect and disease. So overdoses from alcohol, alcohol poisoning, or cirrhosis of the liver, or cancers from alcohol. 410 people a day. One MD-11 crashing every day. So if you break that down into youth, we have stats for youth. This is actually an old stat. K through 12, 1,500 kids a year from alcohol poisoning. That's a classroom every week. So in your school career, remember when one of your classmates died? Just one. A classroom a week from alcohol poisoning. And that's from the year 2000. So college consumption and binge drinking. So some of the stats, 40% of college freshmen binge drink, 10% of the entire freshman class in the United States drops out a year due to alcohol alone. And there is a figure for how many die of alcohol poisoning. But the LCC stat varies according to population. 28% general, roughly, to 50+% for high school completion. Age. Prescription drugs, 100,000 deaths, 273 people a day. So these are from accidental overdoses, allergic reactions, toxic drug interactions, not illicit use, not ODs through diversion. Diversion is basically buying prescription pharmaceutical drugs as street drugs. Okay, so this is people legally using their scripts and dying from them. So one DC-10 or one 757 crashing every day. So, naturally the question comes, to illegal drugs. So I doubled the DAWN stat. DAWN is Drug Abuse Warning Network. It is a network of hospital emergency rooms. Not every hospital emergency room is in DAWN. Like, for example, I don't think Sacred Heart or Riverbend is part of the DAWN network. But the original DAWN stat was 7,000, so I doubled it. Even doubling it from illegal drugs, heroin, cocaine, and meth, it's 38 people a day, which is 2 Gulfstream 5 business jets in a day.
Excuse me, what did DAWN stand for?
Drug Abuse Warning Network. Somebody got the idea to, how many ODs are you getting coming through your emergency room? Let's collect the stat. So, war on drugs, a murmur on alcohol. So, legal drugs, the death toll is more than 2,000 people a day. The alcohol statistics, of course, do not include crashes, murders, crime, and violence, but they're basically, other than those, are preventable deaths. So, unless we accept them as normal or inevitable, or the price we pay for civilization, illegal drugs, death toll is about 40 people a day. And those are also preventable deaths. So, but legal drugs kill 55 times more people a day. We focus on the illegal drugs because the death toll was smaller, or because drug dealers don't have lobbyists. Which is it? So I kind of go, I don't play the good drug, bad drug thing. Addiction is addiction. So I kind of focus, I do focus on illegal drugs, of course. But Legal drugs are, the body count is where legal drugs is. So for example, policy things that could change that. So no advertising in the United States for prescription or alcohol, tobacco. There are countries that do that. We're not one of them. Education on the safe use of products by the manufacturers, dose weight related responsible drinking, universal access to treatment regardless of substance, treatment being of appropriate length, duration, and intensity to meet the needs of the client in addiction. That is, it wouldn't be 28 days spin dry. Any of you ever participated in treatment and wondered why it was only 28 days? Well, here's why, it's the military. Military will pay for a 30-day stay, 1 day to get there, 28 days to be in under treatment, and a day to get back, or else you're AWOL. That's where 28 days came from. Which doesn't make medical sense. Okay? Treatment should last as long as it takes for you to get clean and sober. We see the better outcomes with longer stays than 28 days, which is why we have long-term treatment of 3 to 6 months, which is no guarantee, but. So, in progress in a few places, culturally based skill building and education to counter addictive ads, cultural offensive to build protective factors, redesigning treatment to be comprehensive, that is beyond 12-step limitations. And just to be clear, 12 steps is a great program within groups, within your home group, if you're going to a 12-step program within the community in terms of, going to a support group. But one of the challenges that I found, and one of the things that I've been fighting, is basically addiction treatment being a civil rights issue. So if the counselor doesn't feel comfortable with you bringing up your sexual abuse or your racial history abuse or any of those things, they will discharge you from treatment. Okay? And that was my issue before. It's not, I believe, yes, you can get clean and sober within some 12-step based treatment centers, but some of the experience of LCC students at those treatment centers, if they bring up issues that the counselor doesn't like, and those issues tend to be with white counselors, race, okay? And if you're a black woman who's been sexually abused by her white stepfather and calls you nigger bitch, you better be able to bring that up in treatment and not be discharged. Well, that's not what happened. Not just her. 4 to 5 people that I have referred to that treatment center with the same issue. So that's why I'm kind of PO'd about it.
So how does that counselor remain employed?
Yeah.
Why don't they have more than one counselor?
Yeah. All right. So a little commercial here. You're in college. Spelling. Right is not a word. Right or right are words. I didn't mark you down for your spelling errors, but others will and should. Hey, cigarette companies, light cigarettes had to be changed because they're not light in carcinogens any more than Bud Light is light on alcohol. So those are marketing strategies. So understand that just because you see light does not necessarily mean it's correct spelling in that context. All right? Your marketing strategies, they trick you into buying a, quote, healthier brand when it actually isn't healthier. For example, diet sodas where the sugar substitute causes you to gain weight and gives you cancer. Low fat means high in sugar and carbs. Okay? They're codes for stuff. So a balanced diet. It's no accident that one of the first things to fail in drug addiction is diet. Assuming the diet was balanced and healthy to begin with, which means if you relied on the typical American diet, It's made of high sugar, high salt, highly processed, artificially vitamined, and mineralized food. Low nutrients. So, for example, what we know about psychology often comes from rats and college sophomores. So, once they fed laboratory rats on a diet of McDonald's fast food, rats will not naturally drink alcohol. Many animals will not naturally drink alcohol. They'll avoid it. But after 3 weeks of a fast food diet, the rats spontaneously started drinking alcohol.
What? Why was that?
Well,
What was in the diet?
well, first of all, if you look at what McDonald's fast food is, there's no nutrients. It's high sugar, high salt. In fact, the reason I say that, I gave you that drug definition, is that sugar and salt are drugs from the point of view of the brain. They are psychoactive, but you don't necessarily eat a bag of salt peanuts to get high. But what eating salt does is create a psychological effect. So, for example, if you do the analysis, for example, in terms of dietary analysis, sodium is salt in food. And sugar is usually almost carbohydrates or starches, right? So fast food, high sugar, high salt. Okay? No leafy greens. The rats aren't eating leafy greens, and McDonald's, so I'm talking about French fries and stuff like, and fried foods, right? Which is not a rat's natural diet. But it going to have a psychological effect on you.
But they probably got all bloated from the salt, and the whiskey made them dehydrated, so it got rid of their bloating.
I don't know about that. The other piece about, for example, rats also, when we looked at how addictive cocaine was, rats would cross electric barriers between them and the cocaine. They would ignore water, they would ignore a fertile sex partner, and they would self-administer cocaine until they killed them.
Why would they put that much in there?
Oh, they just have a solution of sugar and cocaine, and they just, oh, wow. So, no accident that Altria and RGR and Nabisco sell food, cigarettes, and alcohol brands. Okay? Repeat business and brand loyalty. This begins with influencing diet away from the genetically determined optimal norm, or through conquest, colonization, thank you, imposition of oppression foods. For example, so I'm a black Indian. 1/3 of the slaves brought from Africa are Muslim, which meant they didn't eat pork. But if you're forced in slavery to eat pork byproducts like pig guts and pig feet, etc., fry bread for Indians, and that's not a healthy diet. So if you don't have a relationship with the land that produces your food and water, you give up that control to others, or control is taken. So it takes about an acre of land per person to feed a person for a year, and that's using a balanced diet, not fast food. So most people, especially students, if doing your food mood diaries, will notice, okay, how much leafy green vegetables are you eating in a day? How much are you just eating fast food because it's convenient and cheap? And what effect is that having on you psychologically and emotionally? So, for example, sugar and salt are used as food additives to induce a certain mood. Sugar makes you thirsty, salt makes you hungry. So there's like more sugar added. Why would you add sugar to French fries? Why would you add salt to a milkshake? Certainly not for flavor, but to induce a mood. So, at our level of civilized complexity and interdependence, the kind of self-sufficiency, like growing your own food on an acre of land, would be difficult, but it could be achievable. So I'll leave the rest of this up on the site, and we'll focus on it more next week. Yeah. Yeah. And people can take any